All right, Mr. TALIAFERRO TV, how's everybody doing out there? Listen, man, it's been a long 2018 for a lot of people, and you know, situations like this just kind of symbolize how long this year has been. XXXTentacion was killed in the middle of broad daylight on June 18th. That thing feels like it happened almost a year ago, but it's only been a couple months, and you know, the police and feds have worked expeditiously to capture anyone who they believe was involved in this heinous crime, this robbery. On June 18th, it looks like at some point, now I don't know if they caught up with XXXTentacion before he entered this motorcycle store, but at some point, four men caught up with XXXTentacion and realized that this dude had a Louis Vuitton backpack filled with cash, as a lot of people do when they are shopping for bikes. At some point, they set up this crime in which there were two gunmen, one getaway driver, and one guy whose responsibility was to block XXXTentacion in. There were 4 men involved, according to police. Remember, Dedrick Williams, 22 years of age, was said to be the getaway driver. He was the first arrested 2 days after the killing. One of the suspected gunmen, Michael Boatwright, was arrested on unrelated drug charges on July 5th. At that present time, they were able to tie him to X's murder as well. And Robert Allen was caught on surveillance video in the motorsports store. He was arrested on July 27th. Now, he's expected to be the guy who blocked XXXTentacion in. Now, in regards to the last guy who had been on foot for quite some time, he had been the guy who had been most successful at hiding wherever he was at. He has finally been captured and taken into custody and booked into Broward's main jail on charges of first-degree murder and robbery with a deadly weapon. Trayvon Newsom. Now, police do believe that Trayvon Newsom is the guy that likely fired the fatal shot that killed young rapper XXXTentacion. They believe Trayvon Newsom was the guy that came behind Michael Boatwright and entered that fatal shot. You know, I think looking back on this, if you ever watched a movie, you know how in movies, guys sign up to be a part of a robbery, then one, probably like Juice. If you ever seen the movie Juice with Tupac Shakur and Oh My Up starring in it, everything was cool when Bishop, again played by Tupac, everything was cool when for the crew, they were doing like little petty stuff, and then Bishop allowed that power, I'm just guessing here, allowed that power to get in the way of better judgment and started doing stupid shit. And at that present time, guys like Q, who's played by Omar Epps, they were like, yo, you doing too much. It looks like this Trayvon Newsom guy might have jumped the gun literally and did too much and killed young X. I don't believe these 4 young men at that had any intention on killing X when they decided to rob this young man. We're talking about a totally different scenario if X just got robbed and nothing else happened to him. Man, this thing never touches mainstream America, man. This thing is a story on hip-hop sites for a day. But because these men decided to not only rob this rapper who they believed had a lot of money on him, they decided to kill this young man. This became one of the biggest stories in this country. It's probably the biggest story in hip-hop for 2018. And now all 4 men have been arrested. And I'm gonna tell you this, man, somebody's gonna try to give somebody else up. That's just how this thing goes, man. Somebody's gonna try to give somebody up. Somebody's gonna want to do maybe 10 years instead of 20, because now you got 4 young men. 5 men lives were changed at the bare minimum. More than that, but at least 5 men lives were changed forever. 1 man is dead. 4 men have attempted murder on their hands, at least. And it just feels like all this could have been avoided, man, with better judgment, proper vetting, and just real OGs. Trayvon Newsom, the last of these 4 men who were all involved in the shooting and the death of XXXTentacion, has been captured. And you know, it's not looking good for these guys. Police feel like they have a very strong case against all 4 of them, and we'll see what happens with these young men. I wish nothing but the best to these young men, whatever the best is that can happen to them at this point. I mean, they made a grown man decision to take someone else's life, so, I mean, whatever is the best that can come out of this situation, you wish it on the families involved, but this was stupid, you know, and somebody's got to pay for someone else's death. That's just how society works. Thank y'all for the time, love, support. I don't take it for granted. Salute. I'm out. What up, Pharaohs? I decided to step my game up again. I've created a music reaction Instagram page. That way, you guys can be up to date on some of the latest new music in the atmosphere, and you guys can also send me some of your music as well, and you will get Mr. Taliaferro's first reaction to your record, for good or for bad, or an artist that we talk about on my platform's music, for good or for bad. Again, follow me on Instagram, Mr. Taliaferro TV. Again, that's Mr. Taliaferro TV, and you get more of yours truly.